For tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. Good morning. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. It's Friday, September 13th. Wait, what? Friday the 13th. Dun, dun, dun. You know what's worse than Friday the 13th? Whenever there's a Monday the 13th. You know why? Because it's Monday. Duh. Anyway, the weekend almost upon us. Let's jump into the forecast. And we'll start with the hazards as we always do. Here's what's going on around the country. Watches and warnings. Southern Oregon, including Klamath Falls, you have a freeze warning. So be warned, it's going to freeze. Winter weather advisory is still hanging on south of Bozeman, Montana, or somewhere around there. Some of the ski areas there in southern Montana. And the rain, it's coming down. Alabama, Tennessee, a little bit of Mississippi into Georgia with flood watches mostly. There's a little bit of a flash flood warning here already. And then we have a chance for some flooding in northern Florida, Jacksonville area, with some fog just to the west of that. And then southern Florida still with that heat advisory, so be advised it's going to be hot. Here's your weather spotlight, spotlight, spotlight. Yeah, it's heavy rainfall across Alabama. This is from Birmingham. This is the rainfall through Sunday evening. So between now and Sunday evening, so the next seven, and I do have another 72-hour rainfall map coming up later, but this puts a fine point on it and can really show you where the towns are. So like Huntsville, 2 to 3 inches, Birmingham, 4 to 6 inches, Tuscaloosa, an inch and a half to 2. Same for Montgomery and Selma, and then you get down to like Jackson, it's ½ inch to an inch. So, but it's going to be raining to beat the band, whatever that means, for the next 2-3 days here in Alabama, and some flooding could be possible. Also, some severe weather possible. Alabama into Georgia, Florida Panhandle up into Tennessee, Memphis, the northern edge of this. And then, of course, the light green is just your regular variety thunderstorms in the plains, maybe, and up through Minnesota and all the way up there in the northeast as well. But here's where the tornado threat is as we kind of zoom in. So again, back to Alabama, Georgia, parts of Tennessee, with just a 2% chance of tornadoes, but there's a chance. So have a way of getting warnings, that sort of thing. If there are any storm chasers out today, that's probably where they're going to be. Here is the surface for today. Post-tropical cyclone Francine hanging out in Arkansas, but that stationary front is right through the state of Alabama, and so that's where the heaviest rainfall is, into Tennessee, into Georgia, and the whole southeast parts of the Midwest with a chance of showers and storms. Also up there in the northern plains into Minnesota, parts of Iowa and Wisconsin. And then it's more of a steadier rain for Montana, Washington, Idaho, a little bit of northwestern Oregon. Highs today, pretty hot in Texas and eastern New Mexico, 99, Roswell, 98, Amarillo, and Lubbock, 94 for Dallas. So a little better. 94 for Houston with humidity, 98 though for San Antonio. You get further up to where the rain is and where our post-tropical cyclone is there in Arkansas into Missouri, Illinois, parts of Kentucky, looks like northern Mississippi. There's all 70s here. 70s, northern Alabama into South Carolina and through Virginia. And then that turns back into 80s in the Midwest and even parts of the Northeast. For the West, it's cooler, especially in the Rockies, a lot of 50s there. And still warm in the Southwest, but not as bad. 103 for Phoenix, though, is still on the hot side. Lows tonight, or tomorrow morning, I should say. So the West is the coolest with, again, we have that freeze warning for Southern Oregon and lots of 30s and 40s in Eastern Oregon, parts of Nevada, parts of Northern California, Central California near Yosemite, the Northern Rockies, Central Rockies. It's all nice and cool and fall-like. Even the Willamette Valley, you have 52 for Eugene. Also in the 50s when you go up into Pennsylvania, New York, and the Northeast. Lots of 60s across the Midwest, 70s across the South, and even a few 80s in the desert Southwest. Tomorrow's surface. That stationary front, by definition of a quasi-stationary front, is stationary over Alabama, and so more heavy rainfall here into Georgia, southern Tennessee. Some of the rain in the plains lifts further in the northern plains, a little bit further east, and also into the Midwest. And we see some showers returning to Arizona and then up in Washington, Oregon as well. Highs tomorrow, hotter in Texas for some, 100 near Abilene and Wichita Falls, but upper 90s, mid to upper 90s, otherwise more upper 90s than mid. Low to mid 90s in Oklahoma. And then as you go further north in the plains, hanging into the 80s almost all the way to the Canadian border, 80s for the Midwest. Some 70s, though, in Minnesota, and 70s persisting with all that rain in the Southeast. But then back into the 80s in the Midwest. There's a 90 in West Virginia and 80s for the Northeast. Desert Southwest, still hot, 100 again for Phoenix, but that's the hottest and the only one I see there in triple digits, and not bad for the Pacific Northwest. A lot of 70s here for the Willamette Valley and cooler with elevation. For Sunday, we're starting to see a little bit more action in the Northwest and into Northern California, maybe some snow there in Yosemite and some more of that chillier type rain in parts of Nevada, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana. Scattered showers continuing for the southeast into the Midwest and the northern plains and the central plains is how that looks. Sunday's highs still mid to upper 90s for Texas, low 90s for the southern plains, central plains, and a lot of 80s for the northern plains, but there's even a 92 there in southern South Dakota. 80s to near 90 for the Midwest. That's a 91 for Columbus, Ohio. But some 70s still in the southeast, and then along the Appalachians and up in Appalachians, and then I don't know. Correct me in the comments. That'd be great. And then some 70s up there in the northeast. The desert Southwest, no hundreds here, at least on the official city markings. There could be some hundreds though in the area, probably around Yuma, and then 70s for Nevada and Idaho, and even some 60s for Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Northern California, even parts of Colorado. Here's your 3-day rain. So I did pick the 72 because remember here at the Weather Mic, we like to get you through the weekend with the forecast. So this will get you through the weekend, and it kind of mirrors the map we showed you on the weather spotlight. Anyway, Alabama, 4 to 6 inches of rainfall for much of the state. And then as you get further out, say into Georgia, we're still looking at 3 inches of rain, maybe isolated more. Same for parts of Tennessee. So yeah, lots of rain here in the next 3 days. But we do see rains returning for Arizona. Could see some areas up to an inch. We have some lighter rain, Northern California into Oregon and Nevada and Idaho. Maybe up to half an inch, a little more here. And then another little pocket there in North Dakota, which could get you up to 1.5 inches or maybe even a little bit more. All right, real quick, we're going to run through the GFS this morning. And we're starting out this morning. We see our low with what was Francine kind of disappearing, but the moisture staying where we've been highlighting those showers. Meanwhile, in the northern plains, a few showers kind of dying out. Nothing really big here. The southeast continues to get rain as we get now into Sunday. So we blitzed right through Saturday, really the southeast getting the rain. Sunday, the southeast getting the rain. A few showers up here on Sunday in Minnesota. And then as we get into the afternoon and evening, still the southeast, but now a few showers busted out. Central and southern plains, all the way down in West Texas. And a few more showers as we get into the overnight Sunday night. This will get us into Monday morning with the rains still coming down from Arkansas into the southeast. Little low forming out here off of North Carolina. Could see some heavy rains moving into the coast as we get into the day. This is Monday night. And then as we get into Tuesday, and we do see that rain, and again, maybe a little bit of snow here in Yosemite as we get into Monday night, and then Tuesday morning, this low here for North Carolina. I'm gonna have to check and see if this is a tropical low. It could be, but it doesn't look particularly strong, at least on the GFS right now. But heavy rainfall in North Carolina, Virginia, into Maryland as we are now into Tuesday morning here, and we'll just see that move in and bring some heavy rain with it into Pennsylvania, Ohio, and lifting to the north while it rains out. Meanwhile, we saw a bunch of showers here in the plains. This brings us now to Wednesday night, close to midnight, overnight Wednesday. And then Thursday, we're starting to get far enough out where this doesn't mean a whole lot. These are more trends. But some snow up here in Wyoming, some heavy rain for eastern Montana into North Dakota. We're Thursday morning here. 18Z, so yeah, late morning, midday, I guess you could call it. I want to zoom to the end of the month because watch this. And you can see a bunch of showers returning to the plains and to Texas, and snow in Colorado as we go through time. This is more like the 22nd, 23rd. And then a big low here in Canada, and as it exits, is that when our cold front comes? Here it is. This is a big, pretty cold front. There's the 540 line. We're at Wednesday, the 25th here. So end of the month, this cold front's going to barrel south, bringing snow to the Rockies, rain out ahead of it, and cold temperatures behind it. And it's going to zip right on into the northern plains, the northern parts of the United States. This is Friday the 27th into the 28th. And this freezing line, the 540 line, not necessarily a freezing line, but the demarcation between rain and snow usually. So it's going to be kind of cold at the end of the month. It's going to move through Minnesota, getting into parts of Iowa here and Wisconsin, and then the Great Lakes as it moves further to the east and not as far south. But looks like a cool off coming. A little bit of change in the pattern as we get to the end of September. I just wanted to give you that preview, something to keep in mind. Now our 6 to 10 day outlook looks like this. So we're looking from the 18th through the 22nd before the cold front barrels in, and the best chance for the below average temperatures in the desert Southwest. So, relief from the heat. And then the best chance of above average temperatures up in the Great Lakes through the center of the country, and up into the Northeast. And precipitation-wise, best chance of above average precipitation, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, parts of Iowa, and then a pocket there, Nevada, Idaho, Oregon. And then the mid-Atlantic. And we saw that low, that tropical low, moving into North Carolina and then Virginia and then into the Ohio Valley. So that's going to be a good chance of above average rainfall. And the dry stuff, even though monsoon returning for a day or two this weekend in Arizona, that's the best chance for the driest weather, also up in the Great Lakes and way up there in the Northeast and then along the Texas Gulf Coast. All right, that's your 13 and a half minute look at the forecast that'll get us through the weekend. That's what we do here. And I'm so glad that you tuned in. The channel's growing a little bit. We got, 103 subs. Thank you so much for that. And we're averaging 30 views per video, a couple of them down in the teens, and a couple of them up over 50. So just thankful for all of it, and I'm glad that you're here. Let me know what you think in the comments, or if you have any requests. We do play requests here. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, The Weather Mike.